The Belgians are fleeing for their lives from the German army, which had invaded their country and started committing a series of civilian massacres. There was a full-blown humanitarian crisis. And the numbers of refugees arriving are extraordinary. During the First World War, and this is principally through Folkestone, over 250,000 Belgian refugees arrived in Britain and were fed, housed and welcomed. It was the greatest work of charitable relief in British history. And it was thanks, above all, to one extraordinary woman. Do you think our view of immigrants, do you think the newspapers blow it up a bit?
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah.
In April 2015, the press's contribution to the national debate came under intense scrutiny when the then Sun columnist, Katie Hopkins, said she would use gunships to stop migration and compared immigrants to cockroaches.
We're looking at a period where immigration became a huge topic for the press, and it was immediately very popular. Why do you think that is?
I think two things will always sell newspapers. One of them is Maddie McCann and one of them is migrants.
You used the term cockroaches in a piece about migrants. Is that something that you still stand by?
If you pick out one word out of a 800-word, I don't know, 600-word, whatever piece...
It's quite a strong word.
It probably could stand alone. We were always taught that there was only a few people that could withstand, or a few animals or a few creatures that could withstand a nuclear holocaust. So I was talking about the enduring nature of migrants able to cross the Mediterranean, and I used the term cockroach.
I mean, your language, you say the same words, festering sores. I mean, you're proud of that, are you?
I think I am honest about the fact that there's lots of London, there are lots of places where migrants live that aren't pretty. Those doss houses, those mildew-infested places with 14 people in a room designed for 2. I'd love it if you came there and tried to tell me that wasn't a festering sore. You know,
well, you could say
festering.
It's an offence against humanity. It's time we did something about it.
I don't feel the need to do anything about it.
Country.
Yeah, well, the thing I would do about it, of course, is have our borders, you know, such that we don't have 600,000 people here that are here illegally. That seems nonsense to me.
You referred to a plague of feral humans. I mean, are they all feral? I mean, is it actually a plague? Aren't they just a group of people?
It's because you look at them and think, you are nothing like me. You don't understand how our culture works. You think it's OK to molest a young boy in a swimming pool. You think it's OK to rape women.
You say you've met these people. Haven't you met any asylum seekers who you've talked to and thought you're an ordinary human being? You're not a feral human being?
I think these individuals from some of these cultures they come from are feral humans. I stand by those words. I use those words explicitly. I think I reflect the national conversation, and I don't see that as hatred, and I don't see that as distrust or mistrust. I see that as people wanting to protect the thing they love. And, you know, this would be an interesting thing about...
But do they do that by hating the other?
No, I don't see that.
No, I'm just reading your stuff, thinking
this
is filled with hate, isn't it? A lot of it. You really hate this, you hate that, you hate... It's part of the shock jock genre, isn't it?
If someone's been around for 12 years or so, speaking their version of truth, with a now massive audience, there's a reason that gains support, and it isn't to do with speaking hate or whipping up frenzies or making people anti a yellow peril, using your words. It's because there is a sense that there is a whole world of stuff we can no longer say, and it's because there's a whole world of state media that appear to be very biased in a particular direction. It's because of people like you that there are people like me. And I've always said this, that you guys, the liberal elite in London, are responsible for me. You are Dr. Frankenstein, and I am your monster.
Well, for me, one thing at the very least that's missing from that argument is compassion. Whilst debates rage on about economic migrants, many feel that Britain has a moral obligation to help those in genuine danger. Remarkably, the greatest demonstration of this vision of Britain came at the most hostile time of all. Lady Lugard had been colonial editor of the Times. She was the highest paid female journalist of her day, and even invented the name Nigeria. Back home, she became a great do-gooder. She was determined that Britain's door, closely guarded for wartime, should now be opened, and that every single Belgian refugee should be allowed to enter. Less than 3 weeks after Britain joined the conflict, Lugard set up a War Refugees Committee and borrowed an office in central London.
They found an empty room with no chairs and barely any ink or paper. But that morning's newspapers contained a letter from Lady Lugard, appealing not just for gifts of money and clothing, but also for people willing to offer English hospitality to destitute Belgians. That evening's post, somewhat to her surprise, contained 1,000 replies. The next day, it was 2,000. Lady Lugard had set in motion a huge wave of humanitarianism that in the coming weeks and months would sweep right across the country.
Soon there were over 2,000 relief organisations nationwide. Women volunteers carried out the bulk of the work, putting in up to 17 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Lugard herself remarked it was a moment which unmistakably revealed the heart of England. Other nations cast people out, Britain took them in, and that made us a country worth fighting for.